Welcome to Pastor in the Middle, a podcast about ministry in the middle of our people and in the middle of an increasingly polarized world. Your hosts, Pastors Fred Shackelford and Matt Crawford, want to bring grace, unity, and nuance to conversations about theology, ministry, and the Christian life. Thanks for listening.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pastor in the Middle. My name is Matt Crawford.
And I'm Fred Shackelford.
We're so glad you've joined us, and we have an amazing guest who's back with us for a second time. He's amazing. He's amazing. He amazes everyone.
Like Spider-Man, he's amazing.
Yeah. Your friendly neighborhood pastor.
Oh, that's right.
This is Dr. Brian Carmichael, who, if you are a faithful listener, you listened to him share quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about following a legend.
Yep.
And him having pastored at the same church that his father pastored at, a Holy Temple Missionary Baptist Church here in the greater Memphis area. But Pastor Brian, just tell any of our new listeners just about your family. Maybe somebody missed your first episode with us. We want to kind of introduce you to them.
Okay, well, I'm married to Stacy. We've been married 33 years, and we have 4 children. Our oldest is Jonathan. He's married to Jasmine, and they have 2 children, Genesis and Jackson. Mm-hmm. And so then my next is Lil Brian. He's a firefighter here in the Bartlett area. And then my daughter, Brandy, she stays in Chicago right now. And then my youngest is Brandon, and his wife is Ting Chu. They got married this year. We thank God for that. And so, well, other than that, yeah, that's my family.
That's it.
Growing family, yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
I've gotten to be buddies with Brandon recently, done some youth ministry events with him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is a funny guy.
He's a trip.
He is hilarious.
Brandon
and
is
it's
funny.
It's out of the blue. You'll be talking to him and say something just like catch you off guard.
Yeah.
I love that. Tell us about your ministry roles, because you're not just a pastor. You do several other things.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm a pastor of Holy Temple. I've been there 20 years as the senior pastor, but my father started the church, so I was there when it started. Mm-hmm. I also work for TBMB, which is the really ministry arm of TBC. So
Tennessee Baptist Mission Board, Tennessee Baptist Convention.
Yeah. So I'm a black church specialist, so I work with the African American churches across the state of Tennessee.
Wait, you're black?
No. I'm
forget we have video.
I'm brown.
Yes, you're brown. You're brown, exactly.
My voice didn't give it away. I'm just sorry. I need to talk like Matt. Yes, I'm here. I showed up.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I got to be careful what I say to you guys before we record. It get thrown back at me.
So funny.
I've got to start speaking in a deeper voice.
Yeah, that's right.
Apparently.
Yeah,
that's right.
You have one more ministry role.
Well, I also am an adjunct professor at Union University, the College of Memphis College of Urban Theological Studies.
Union University, the unofficial university of Pastor in the Middle. That's what Union gets brought up a lot.
Two out of 3 episodes.
Great university.
We're thankful that you do that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then I also write for Lifeway. I do some commentary stuff for Bible Studies for Life. And then they have a U curriculum. I don't know if you ever heard of the U curriculum, but it's the curriculum for urban churches. Yeah. And so I do some writing for that, as well as some, sermon starters and stuff that they do with the
You're doing
lesson.
Everything.
Well, not everything. But a little bit of a lot of stuff.
Well, that issue of writing for different contexts may be relevant to our topic today. Brian and I were actually together last week at the Tennessee Baptist Convention and had a long conversation. And one of the things that came up, I don't even remember how it came up, but we started talking about AI, artificial intelligence. And Fred had actually proposed probably a month or 2 ago that we do an episode on that.
Yeah.
And so when Brian and I spoke about it, it was clear that he had kind of worked through this a lot, thought it through, used it in ways that went way beyond my experience. So I thought, man, let's bring Brian in and have a conversation about this.
Okay.
So, man, thank you for being willing to come.
Hey, no problem.
Your ministry experience, your your pastor's heart and your investment in the other leaders, many other leaders within our state, I think makes you a great candidate to talk this.
Yeah, and I'll just say,
through.
Brian is the person to talk about this because we know your integrity. We know
True.
how determined you are to preach the word well and to do so with integrity. And so I'm really excited to talk to you about this.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So, Brian, how did you first come to consider using AI in pastoral ministry? Like, how did you get started?
Well, to answer that question, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah,
I just kind of
computer
stumbled.
told me to do it.
I'm kind of the same way.
The computer. You said the computer told me to do it.
Yeah.
It had to be around in July of 2023.
Okay.
I just was,
You're doing a lot better than I would because I was trying to think of the first time I started using chat for different things or AI for something, and I don't remember it. I think sometimes, like, for me with technology, I'm just the type of person, if I hear about a new technology, I'm going to give it a shot. And I think that's kind of the way you are too.
Yeah,
right?
and I just wanted to see what was the deal
Exactly.
with it. And so, you just start asking questions and seeing what happens. And so that's what I did. I just started, but then I started learning. I said, hey, this thing is, this tool is really a good tool if I use it the way I need to use it.
Right.
And so I started learning to divide things up. So you know how you can have with Chat GPT, you can have a new search.
Right.
So I started not crossing things over, asking different questions of the same vein.
Okay.
So if I started a vein, I'm just going to stick with whatever I was talking about there. Switch over if I want to, let's say, ask about a car. I'm going to say a new search and ask about a car. And then, and if I want to go back, I can always go back. And then you can title it and call it what you want to call it. So you can always go back and look at it. So
just to make sure I understand what you're saying and our listeners understand, you're saying that as you're having a conversation with AI or whatever form you're using, you start a new search so that it's not factoring in something you said in the first conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to stick to what I was
a fresh
talking.
slate.
Right.
Right. And I think that's an important thing. We may have listeners that just aren't familiar or maybe intimidated by the two letters AI. But really, I think it's most valuable use. I mean, it's a search engine.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's Google on steroids. It's really what it is. And so I think if we think of it in that framework, it kind of helps sort of guide the parameters in which we use it.
Yeah, and so I started using it like that. I just said, hey, and so I was using it so much that it was like, well, that's enough for the free version.
Yeah.
Okay. Which service was this, by the way?
It was Chat GPT.
Okay.
That's where I started with.
Yeah.
And so now I've tried others because I think it's good to try others. You got Copilot, you got what's the name of them other ones? There's a lot of different ones out there. So I just put the same question in each one of them to see what they give me.
Oh yeah.
And
what did that look like?
I like the way Chat GPT lays it out.
Yeah,
It is so much better. Now some of them give you a little different information, but the way it, the bullet points, the way, and then it'll ask you after a while to say which way you like it. Do you like this way, this answer, or do you like this answer?
Yep.
And then you kind of weigh them and say, no, I like this one. And so it tries to answer based on the way you like it laid out.
Yeah. So I think before we dive too deep into how this is, so how specifically have you used it? Like what are some of the main categories or ways that you would see as important or helpful ways for pastors to use something like a Chat GPT?
Yeah. So content creation, sermons, Bible studies, newsletters, stuff like that. Administrative help.
Yes.
When it comes to scheduling, communication, data management, you can ask it different things along those lines. Even, let's just say, for instance, you're a small church, and that's one of the reasons I really delve into it, just to say, hey, I want to help pastors across the state. And I'm like, they don't have a staff. They don't have all of this, these people available to them. So I was like,
they don't have the time.
Yeah, and so I said, let me start asking it other questions like, hey, for a small church, give me a job description for, and I said for a secretary that works with the Sunday school, or for, and man, I have used it spit it out.
I have used it precisely for that. We've had some retirements, some staff changes, and it spits it out. There's always a few little
you got to change some things,
things
based on your church,
exactly. But if you learn to ask the right questions, it learns kind of your context, and it can figure out really what it is you need. And bulletin articles, like stuff like that, holy smoke, game changer. Yeah. And we'll talk some about that.
I should have wrote our list of questions today with AI. Write me a list of questions for a podcast episode on AI.
You absolutely could.
You could.
And you would be surprised at how helpful it is. So little things like that used to take a lot of time. I'll tell you the parameters that I get in, like for bulletin articles. If you're from EBC, just know this is what I do. I'll say, write a church bulletin article, give a lighthearted opening story, a quick summary, and I'll put the passage that I'm preaching from, and it'll spit it out. I'll inevitably go through and change a few things that sound, if it doesn't sound like me.
And then, you gotta make it sound like Fred.
And then put other little information in there, and it cuts it in a third.
Wait, two questions. You write a new article every bulletin every week?
I do every week. Yeah.
Now AI does, but
AI does. Yes, AI does.
And then lighthearted story, like what is that?
Oh, just
it's not about your life.
No, of course not.
It's
and
made up.
I wouldn't quote it as something like that. There's there once was a whatever. Is how how that goes.
It once was a chicken that tried to cross the road.
That's when you I'm trying to think of it. I'm trying to think of this.
I'm trying to think of an example. Like,
so, like this.
Does it tie into what you're talking about?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, of course. It like an introductory story to get into the summary of the passage is what I'll do. Yeah. And sometimes it will. I don't want to. Let's move on.
But I also use it for outreach, evangelism. So, like, for instance, I've asked it, I said, hey, give me some examples of a text that my members can send out in order to invite people to come to church. Or give me an example of what we could do on social media. And so it'll give and say, hey, do a testimony of how the church has impacted your life, and let the members do that, do their own testimony and put that on their Facebook page or whatever.
And again, think of it like a search engine. So before, what you would have to do that same thing, you would get on Google and you would just search churches, and you would pull up example after example after example of different things,
of them bad,
of different things that churches are doing and whatnot. And what chat does, it does all that for you in seconds and spits out a product that can be a result of that. And again, to me, the value is not necessarily in the product that it puts out. It's that it gets me thinking.
There you go.
There you go.
The research.
Yeah. It really gives you ideas, and you can say, I like that, but I don't like this. Then so I always say, give me several. Or give me many ways. Right. And so it'll spit out. If you want 10, tell it 10, and it'll spit out 10. And some of them are good, some are not so good. Right. So, but you're able to sort through it and say, hey, this is good. I want to do this. Yeah, that's a good idea. And so it's very helpful when it comes to those kind of things.
Any other categories of usage that you can think of?
I've used it with prayer prompts.
Okay. Yeah.
So I just did this in Bible study. I just went in and said, hey, give me prayer prompts, and I always say, give me with scriptural reference for the different ministers in the church. So I list them. I said missions. I said, Sunday school. I said men's ministry, women's ministry. I just went through the list. And then in this Bible study, I've been teaching about prayer and really emphasizing supplication. And so I was saying, hey, I want you to pray and write out a prayer using these prayer prompts. For the area that you are working in.
Yeah.
And then,
That's
did
cool.
that during the Bible study. Then I said, okay, now I don't want you to be just selfish. So now all these areas need praying for. So I need you to be thinking about praying for all of the different ministries within the church. And these are prayer prompts to help you. So whether it's men's ministry, women's ministry, youth and children's ministry, regardless of what it is, hey, I want to give you a tool that you can use, because what we'll do is get stuck in a rut.
Right.
And we'll pray the same thing. So even when it comes to, I use the acronym FACTS of praying. So F is faith. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. And then the rest is acts, adoration, confession, thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So I even said, hey, give me a list of attributes of God. So when it comes to adoration, we might get stuck on a certain few attributes that we want to show, we adore our Lord. But hey, have you ever thought about that He disciplines us?
Yeah.
And that's good. And what He does for His
really
children.
good.
And so same thing with Thanksgiving, and gave a list of things when it comes to creation, when it comes to His acts in salvation history, but then when it comes to what He does in the individual lives of believers, like He forgives us, He shows mercy on us, all of those things.
That's really good.
And so now even when I do Thanksgiving, I got other things to think about. I'm not just the same old.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think often we can get stuck, like, every pastor or teacher here probably has sat in front of the computer and been like, I don't even know, I can't think of what to say. I can't think of where to start, writer's block, right? And I think that's where I found a chat to be valuable, is because I can just put, I want to say something about this, and it's just a springboard to get my brain engaged. One of the other ways that I've used it that's helpful. So when I do like midweek Bible study, I like to have discussion questions, and I'll have that. I'll just be sitting in front of the computer. All right, I got the message. I got the thing I want to teach. What kind of question can I pull out of that? And so that's what I'll do. I'll put a summary of the lesson, the passage. Give me 3 discussion questions that come out of this. I use maybe one of the 3 at first, or I might, narrow, put another search in, a follow up to give guidance to really more of what I'm looking for. But I very rarely ever just copy and paste the thing in there, because there's always something a little bit different. Yeah. But it helps me to start thinking about it.
And so that's one of the things I always try to tell people to keep in mind. You're in charge. Right. It's kind of like reading a book. If you read a book, do you just take everything the book said and say it's true?
Right.
You still got to think. You still got to, think about what they're saying, and does that line up with what Scripture is saying? And the same thing with this engine. You got to say, hey, hold up. And so I did it a lot at the beginning. I don't even really have to do it anymore. I told it, give me biblical references. Yeah. I need the references. So now it automatically it spit it out every time. Yeah. I don't even have to say, where's this in the Bible? Because it's going to put it there, because it knows I'm looking for biblical references. And then I challenge it. Like if it might, and I can tell it might just be pulling stuff. And I was like, well, doesn't the Bible say this in this passage? And then it'll say, excellent question. I see that you're thinking theologically. Yeah. And then it'll say, yeah, you're correct. It does do because that. And I'm like,
it wants you to be happy.
I'm challenging it. I'm not just taking everything it say and say, well, doesn't the Bible teach this? And they say, oh, yes, that's right. Yeah. And so it knows it's just not going to give me anything. Right.
And that gets to the next question, like dangers
can I just before we jump into that, like I've been kind of building some follow-ups here. Okay. Like, one is, you're probably using this several times a week, aren't you?
Yeah, I use it all the time.
Okay. 2, what is the cost for the subscription?
It's like $20 a month.
Okay.
I still use the free version.
Yeah.
Okay. You can do a lot with the free version.
You can, but I did it so much. I was like, it's worth it. I'm using it for real. Right. I'm really using it. So I just went on, and so maybe for a year or so I didn't. I was just and then I had it on 2 different
Yeah, 2 different accounts.
I was like, because I never signed in.
Yeah.
So I had one I signed in, and it would get to a point.
Some limitations, like with the free version. So one thing you can do is you can upload content, right? And you can, so you upload a sermon, and you could say like, hey, give me an illustration that builds into this thing, or give me some extra thing that you need.
Yeah.
You're limited at the number of things you can upload,
Yeah.
and so you're a little bit restricted in some of the follow-ups.
But with that being said, now if you are a Logos user, it does all that too.
That's true.
So
and I do use.
You
Logos,
can put the passage in there, and it'll give you outlines. It'll give you all kinds of stuff.
Right.
It'll also give you illustrations. You can say what type of illustration you're looking for. It'll pop it out.
Yeah,
it'll give you what's the other thing it does? Illustration. Oh, application. It'll do the applications too.
Yeah.
So I just try all of them just to see what's
which
going
version
on.
of Logos are you?
The Max, that I got that subscription to Max, but
yeah, that's cool.
One of the things that just as we've been talking, and it's not that I didn't realize before, maybe, but it's for some who might be concerned about letting a computer decide what you're going to do in ministry or your sermons or it's not the computer making up anything new. It's going out on the internet and it's pulling from other pastors, other churches. Obviously, there might be a case where you have to cite certain things, but like it's pulling from other pastors and it's allowing you to, have ideas and draw on the resources that are publicly available. So it's not that we're surrendering ministry to a machine.
It's not a shortcut for laziness. It's a tool to improve something you're already working on.
Yeah, it'll make you more, use your time more wisely.
Exactly.
I think, and then I think the prompts that you use are very important. So, like I've learned that you can say, think like a conservative theologian.
Yeah.
And then ask the question.
Yeah, that's true.
You can tell it to say, hey, think like you are a creative person. And then ask the question that or if you're, it'll do designs and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially the paid version, not the free. Free might not do it.
They're not very good.
So it actually works. It's not just that you can do more, ask more questions or use it more. It's that it'll do a better job in the paid version.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah, and then you can ask based on a certain book. So I can say, hey, like the Eastern Bible Dictionary, and say, use that, and then ask the question based on it, and it'll use that.
That's in Logos?
No, this is
ChatGPT will do it too.
And so it's an online version of Eastern Bible commentary out there. So it'll go to use the online tools of like Bible.org and all that. It'll pull that and look for that answer.
You can give it examples. I know I use it often to do like recommendation letters, right? And I'll have it, put the person's name in, what it's for, and it'll spit something out. And if a lot of times it comes across kind of woody and like the language is kind of wooden and tight and so I'll follow up with make this a little more conversational and it'll spit it back out and do the same thing. So you can do follow-ups like that.
Edit it.
Yeah.
So there, a lot of people are probably rightfully concerned about certain pitfalls with AI. What are some of the biggest dangers or pitfalls for pastors who are using this service? What do we need to watch out for?
Well, you don't want to replace AI for spiritual discernment.
Yep.
You don't want to do that. You'll fall into that, and then you don't want to overly rely on it. Because you'll find yourself saying, "Just write me a message,"
right?
Because instead of being spirit led, you'll just say, "Well, AI write this for me," and we don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that. I mean that would be the equivalent of me just saying, "Hey Matt, send me your sermon. I'm just going to preach your sermon." So there's there's some degree of plagiarism that could happen through that, right? Because you're sort of plagiarizing from the wealth of information that's on the internet anyway. If you use it indiscriminately, and so I don't even now. I heard it sound like you do it, but I don't. I don't let it know what I'm really thinking. Yeah, yeah. But it figures it out.
It's listening to our podcast.
No, so like for instance, I like to alliterate. So I can get stuck, and I used to spend a lot of time in thesauruses.
I gave up alliterating a long time ago.
So, but oh my goodness,
oh, you can.
I can just tell it, and it took me a while to learn how to say what I wanted it to do. Like when it come to alliterate. Oh, but now it know me.
It's almost as good as Reginald.
Hey, here's my I got my own Reginald. Praise the Lord.
Right. Yeah, you got. In fact, you should name your Chat GPT just Reginald. That's Reginald. That's Brian. If you're listening, Reginald, you are now Brian's chat. He's not even going to call it chat anymore.
For those who haven't listened to those episodes, Dr. Reginald Taylor, our good friend, colleague at Union. He is the alliterating master.
Yes, he is.
And so that's why we're making jokes about the alliteration.
So I done, I used to scour through Reginald's books. And look at it and say, hold up, do we got a word in here that I could,
that's right.
I was like, no, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to call nobody up, because it's really the same as me saying, hey, can you think of some word that I could use that would, fit this? I don't have to, I just put it in Chat GPT and
it does it. And if it's out there, it'll find it.
And so even not just that, I use it for phrases. So like, for instance, I'll come up with a phrase and I say, well, can you give me some alternative ways of saying that same phrase? And it'll spit out a lot.
Right.
And some are great, some are not. Right. And so I just look through it, and then some of them I said, well, no, I'll take a piece of what this one's saying, a piece of something else, or something I didn't thought of and put it together.
Right.
I just,
it goes back to that discernment. And you have to know, like, I really would not recommend a new pastor to use this heavily. Again, there's some tools, some applications for it, but you gotta you've gotta learn the word. You gotta learn the word. Yeah, you have to know the word. You have to do the work. You have to understand your own shortfalls and your own mannerisms and the way you communicate. Because, like I said, you have to have a style to force it to speak in your language, right? And so, if you don't have that language yet, you're going to be relying on something that's not really you.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true. You got to know who you are and how you do things. So, for me, I wouldn't even put my whole message in it. I wouldn't even say, "Hey, put this." Take what I get and do this. No,
I don't.
I know what I'm doing. And I'm just asking it certain questions
sort of compartmentalize
it.
it.
I'm just hey, now I can put the passage in there, and I've done that and said, hey, give me a exegetical outline of this. Give me several. Let me see what you come up with. It's no different for me than looking inside of Logos and finding the book that got the outlines. And I was like, hey, let me see what you come up with. And I've
never actually done that either. I just know that that's a way that you can do. You can put your own content up there and have it insert something in there that would be
now if you're doing like an email or something like this and say, hey, I wrote this out, but make sure it has the right tone. That I don't want it to have because sometimes we can send a text to somebody and it don't come across right.
Oh, for sure.
Because our tone, the tone of how we write it, and so it'll help with that, soften the tone, make it more comforting or more loving.
Emails, recommendation letters, all that kind of stuff. I think in a lot of just the administrative stuff, it's incredibly helpful.
So you mentioned.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say the first time I used it for something like that, it said, "What's the person's name? What do they do? How long have you known them?" It asked me all these questions, and I spit it, and and then once we spit it out, I said, "Oh no, I wouldn't say that like that. Let me change this," and I just fixed it.
But it just saves so much time. Go ahead.
Well, one of the things you said was don't rely on it too much, and I. Just recently, I don't know if you guys saw this on Facebook, but a guy who I think maybe all three of us are friends with, Jared Kress, who's at Kirby Woods Baptist Church here in town. He posted a true story of his own recent experience.
Yes.
Of
I saw it. I've got a similar one. Yeah.
And I shared it because I was like, man, people need to see this. Other pastors need to see this. And so maybe you can kind of respond to this story in terms of how pastors can guard against it. But he was working on a sermon, wanting an illustration. And I think there was some story that he was, you know how we remember, what did I hear that story years ago? And so he went to AI and he requested, can you find me like a newspaper article from, it was like 1903 or something on this topic. And it spit it back out.
Right.
And it's like, it's named a specific paper, specific date. Yep. And it's like, here's this article. And he's like, okay. Well, then he went and checked and he could not find such an article anywhere on the internet.
Yeah.
He logged out, and I guess maybe it's like a new search, like you said. He logged back in and he said, please find me this specific newspaper article, the one that it had mentioned in his previous section. And it said, no such article exists.
Yeah.
And he said, you gave that to me. And it was all apologetic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I won't do that anymore. So I say that as a sort of a cautionary tale. Like, you can't necessarily, like, it doesn't have ethics.
Right.
It doesn't have morals of what's right and wrong.
Right.
It will make up stuff. It will sometimes lie to you. So
it wants to please you.
My experience was similar. I was looking for an illustration. You know, I like, give me an illustration on this specific topic. And it gave me a story, and it was like, it named specific people in a specific place. I mean, it was like these two people, they had their names, they were missionaries. I think I was talking about, like, you know, people who gave everything for the gospel. You know, find something like that for me. Two people, you know, they were missionaries, I think in Haiti or something like that. And, you know, they died in a car wreck or something like that. It had this whole thing. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. But the Holy Spirit probably, I was like, let me go back. And so I Googled the name, right? There was nothing. I mean, nothing about this person out there. I couldn't find anything about this story. And so I went back and I've just followed up the question. I said, is this story true? And it said, oh no, for a true story, and then it found one that was actually true. And so you didn't specify. You didn't specify, exactly. And so you're right. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's a machine. It's
artificial intelligence, it's not real intelligence.
It's a machine without a personality, without a soul, and all it is it's an information aggregate. And so you have to really be specific, and you need to, especially if you're quoting something as fact, you need to go back and you need to specify.
You need to check. Another thing I'd like to do is just check that. Ask the same question of another search engine, you know, like Copilot or something. Ask all of them the same question to see what they give you.
Right.
So, like, if it came up with a name, let me go over here and see. Does it say the same thing?
Tell me that story about this people. These people.
And when it say who are them people?
Who that?
I don't know them.
I don't know them.
Paul, I know. Jesus, I know, but you, I don't know.
It's good.
Yeah.
Any other pitfalls?
No, other than, you can, and you probably have heard these other stories, and this is not necessarily particular to pastors, but you can lose human connection. Like people use AI as a therapist, and it's just telling them whatever they want to hear.
Right. It's making it worse.
Yeah. It's like, hold up. No, that's not, you don't want to do that.
Well, I mean, we're pastors in the middle, right? Talking about being in the middle of our people. Like, if you're relying on it too much, withdrawing from them, not being around sheep enough to be able to address their real lives with the word.
Exactly.
And so, so I don't necessarily, now I think that what really got me interested, because I was at a training, like, how we do church planner training, and they were just recounting how one of the guys said, hey, I need a story. And I want you to make it up. So it said, make it up. So I want to make up a story and it said I needed to have these different parameters within the story. And it made it up, and he just told the story and gave it to him. He told him after he got finished, hey, it was generated by that, but the story did what he wanted it to do.
It accomplished what it wanted to do.
And
even if it was, because, and again, a lot of that just has to do with how we present it. It's the difference between there was a person and I came across a story about this thing.
Or
I don't think it's true.
Imagine this with me.
Imagine
you
this.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or let me give you a parable like Jesus did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's so dangers. Let's think about. You've mentioned several ways that it can be used. What are some of the biggest opportunities, would you say, for pastors who might use AI? Anything in addition to what we've already talked about?
Yeah, I think, administratively, I think that is one of the biggest things. It's a very good help when it comes to organization. Like, for instance, I even said, hey, just thinking about a pipeline, a ministry pipeline. I said, hey, give me the competencies of this, a teacher. Give me this of this, and man, it lists that bad book out. And so then you can kind of use those things to develop. Hey, I want to be able to make sure if I'm trying to move a person from just being in the class to then being, like a care leader or something in the class, and the different things I need to teach them along the way, right, in order to get them to a teacher, but then maybe to a department chair, and then to, it will help. It will give you things to think about, give you the list. And then it's like, hey, so what kind of training do I need to have in order to get a person from here? And it'll spit it out. And so a lot of times you don't have to spend all that time looking for that. And you don't have to be like, what book can I go find? Because you ever done that? Say, I gotta be a book out here that will help me to be able
Something in my office. I don't know where it is.
Or hey, and you can ask it for a book. You can ask it. Say, is it a book out there that does this, and it'll give you
some options.
Yes,
usually more than one. Spreadsheets. Yeah, I don't know if you ever used it for spreadsheets, and I haven't done a lot of that, but I know my son has, and I think any way that you would use you can actually just have it create a spreadsheet with this information, and it's editable just as you would any other content that it would spit out for you.
So I said, well, we're doing budgets, and I said, well, I need you to do a budget, and I said, I want to, instead of having a general one, I said, I want it specific for every ministry.
Yeah.
And then even after it did, I said, no, we don't do that. Take that out. Put this in here.
Right.
We have these different programs, and it'll keep doing it.
Yeah. It will
fix it exactly the way you want it to be.
Right.
And then you can tell it how you want it. You can have it in a Word document. You can have it in a spreadsheet.
It edits it for you. It spits it out in a way so you're not having to do the minutia. It's incredibly helpful if you don't have like an assistant. Right, someone that does that types up a lot of your stuff. It really is. Anything else?
No, that's about all I could really think of. I mean, other than sermon, it'll help when it comes to alliteration.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, that was like the biggest help. I was like, oh my goodness, I've been sitting here, for hours trying to figure out words and saying, I know what I'm trying to say, but now I want to alliterate
Note
it.
to self when I preach at Brian's church.
No, that's just me. That's just me.
Side question, not related to AI. I don't remember if we talked about this. I don't think we did talk about this in your previous episode. What's the benefit of alliteration in sermons? I know there's reasons you have for doing that.
Well, it's just so for me, I guess I grew up listening to Adrian Rogers, and for me it's easy to remember.
That's the big
I think
thing.
it does help.
It helps when it comes to remembering your points and all of that. But then I don't want it just to be alliterated. So I'm also thinking from the standpoint that I want it to be more set towards application, is pushing toward the people to say, hey, you need to accept this, you need to acknowledge this, you need to, it's like the understood
their action points.
Yeah. And so it's not, to me, that's an exegetical outline when it says Moses accepted God's command. Moses acknowledged his fault. Moses, well, that's exegetical. I need a homiletical. I wanted to speak to the people. I wanted to help drive them. So I'm like, hey, I got to say it in a way that they know that this is speaking to them. And so now this text is speaking to them.
Yeah. The whole goal is to teach them to learn how to apply Scripture when they read it, when they're studying it. Yeah.
Yeah. So either you're doing it or you're not. And so if you're not doing it, hey, you got to repent.
Right.
And
good theology always changes us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if a pastor's using AI, should he tell his congregation?
Well, it just depends. It depends on what you're doing with it,
Right?
You know.
Right.
So if you know, if you used it to, you know, with some story or something like that. I probably say, hey,
you could say,
this game.
I had chats.
My friend Reginald helped me with this story.
But hey, let's say you got a story from Reginald. Let's just say you got it from him. Do you say that? Do you would say, you know,
often? Yeah.
I would say if it's the kind of thing that you would normally attribute, you know, you could you could throw it in there. I mean, because it's just being. Anytime you preach, you just want to be honest
and humble.
And humble, right?
You know,
right.
So Dr. Skinner, that was at Mid-America, used to say, "Hey, if my bullets fit in your gun, shoot them." Mm-hmm. But his bullets never fit in my gun. I mean, he wouldn't say it the way I would say it.
Right.
You know, so I would never. I just can't take. I never thought of anybody's outline. I said, you know what? I'm just swallowing that whole.
Exactly.
I can't
do that.
I don't do it either.
In my opinion, you can't really preach that. Like if it didn't come from the Holy Spirit through me into my mind, I can't preach it with authenticity. You know, to me, it'd just be like reading somebody else's.
It's foreign.
And
it takes to me, it takes a lot of the fun out of the process.
And so if
ownership of it, you know,
I'm the same way when it comes to, you know, like, oh, here's some messages that you could preach because you're trying to emphasize giving in your church.
Yeah, like some of the I ain't preaching that. I ain't preaching that. Yeah.
I mean, I might use the passage.
Right.
Thank you for the passage.
Right,
you know.
Right.
But I'm probably not. I'm not going to be using that outline.
Yeah, I'm just not.
I'm the same way.
You know,
I'm the same way.
It's just it got to be me.
I'm the same way. But I think within preaching, like when you're preaching, any way that you would quote, like if I were to say, you know, hey, I was talking to Brian Carmichael the other day. Hey, I was looking for something, you know, some story to tell, and Chad gave me this one, you know, or whatever. And I think if it's not awkward, if it wouldn't be awkward in some other context or with some other source, I would say use it.
And administratively, you probably wouldn't need to acknowledge that either.
No. And you know, like if I called you up and said, "Hey, I need a word that begins with an A," that's you know, I'm not going to say, "Hey, this word right here came from AI."
Yeah,
you know,
this
I
word
wouldn't
right
say
here came from Fred. Fred Shackelford gave me.
I
this
just want to give
Thank
credit.
you, Fred.
And Reginald gave me their first A.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You're not
I wouldn't say that. You know. So I just, you know, so really, I try to make it where I'm not saying anything exactly the way, you know, I'm going to say it the way I would say it. Now, it's giving me ideas, and I look at it as a way, it's helping me to think about something I hadn't thought about. I was like, oh, you know, that right there, oh, that got me thinking. And so then I like to come up with my own stuff. So, you know, so that's why I say I keep it, you know, close to the chest. I was like, oh, I'm going to ask you this because I know I'm thinking this. So I'm just giving you a little piece of what I'm looking for. Yeah. And then I'm going to do the rest of my work over here and just keep going.
I thought compartmentalization. When you said that, I was like, okay, so it's this one specific thing. Here's this task.
It's one source.
I'm not inviting you into the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not letting you see everything I'm trying to. Because I don't want you to take that and then start offering it to everybody out there.
What we're hoping is that your AI is not listening to this podcast episode, because then it's over.
It's gonna be mad at me. It's like, no, give me everything.
It's gonna start listening to your sermon feed online.
That's right.
Yeah. So like now it didn't figure out what the name of the church is. Because I had it make something, and it was like, what else do you need for Holy Temple?
Wait a minute.
I get Ellendale. Yeah. So like, when I'll have it like give me the starting point for a bulletin article, it'll say, you know, God's doing so many things at Ellendale Baptist Church, because I say that all the time. Like, it's learned. Yeah.
And that's the good thing. So if you're a good teacher, it'll learn good practices.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're a bad teacher, you're gonna teach it bad things.
Yeah.
And if it will make up stuff if you don't check it and say, no, I don't need you to make this up. I mean, you know, especially when it comes to you're looking for a real life story.
Yeah.
And then I would even say, if it's not one out there, please don't make it up.
Yeah.
I would say don't do it.
You can tell it.
I would say don't make it up. If
Yeah.
it's not one, I don't need it. I'll switch to something else.
Exactly.
And so even when it comes to like illustrations or like for me, creativity with the message, like sometimes it's like, hey, I need to, I'm thinking this, but how can I use this, maybe not a prop, or maybe this idea to illustrate the whole message. How can I use this? And I'm looking for other ideas. I got some, but I'm just trying to, and I plug it in there and say, hey, what do you got? And then other times it make me think about something else. And I say, I'm thinking this. This right here, do. And, so it just helps me to think even more.
Good search engine.
It is. It really is.
So you touched on this just a little bit, but in your view, how should pastors speak to the people in the church about the way they use AI, just in their own lives? Caution, advice,
Yeah. Well, with some, I would say just start. My wife. My wife said it's the devil.
Right. Okay.
She was like, she did not want nothing to do with it until she started using it.
Exactly.
And she was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
She's a teacher.
It's a really good tool.
She's a teacher.
Well, she was a teacher, but she's doing real estate and what's that? Trips and stuff like that.
Yeah,
she's a
travel
advisor.
agent.
So she uses it to write up like communications?
No, she so she's over the women's ministry. So she,
you're talking about within the church.
Yeah, so she uses it, and she just uses it to help somebody else. It's like, hey.
But she could, I would imagine as a travel advisor, if you don't already have this, you would put, hey,
potential itineraries.
Write up a sample itinerary for something for somebody to do in wherever.
Yeah, she's tried that, just to see what it would give her different than what she came up with, just to see, is it something she missed or something like that, especially when you're doing something special that you're.
So encourage them to use it, like. I guess
so. Like for instance,
if you're to see it as a tool. Versus,
if you're a ministry leader and you're weak in a certain area when it comes to putting things, you might got ideas, but how do I put this together?
You're not the best writer.
Yeah, and so it can help. Like when it comes to agenda, you say, hey, I need you to put together an agenda. Here's the things I'm gonna talk about. Give me an agenda that's gonna last this long. So I need you to, and it'll spit it out like, oh, I'm not good with computers. All you gotta do is print.
You don't have to be.
All you gotta download and print. Yeah. That's all you gotta do.
You don't have to be good at it. Yeah.
And so it'll do it. Like I can't type I can't do it fast, man. A minute. It don't even take that long.
Yeah.
A few seconds, it got it for you. So for me, I want them to be more efficient, and so I'm helping them to say, hey, here, what about some ideas? Because I want you to improve in your role.
Yeah.
And so, hey, I want you to use your time wisely. So you could say, what are some of the better books in my ministry area that I could look into? What are some trends that are going on, like with youth or children or, Gen X and all of that? You can look into that, I even asked it about using demographics. What are some of the best ways that we can use demographics or the best ways to use technology within the ministry area, like when it comes to getting data together, So I showed it to the pastors at the church. I said, hey, let me show you how to use these things because it can be helpful. But I'm always warning, don't just say, give me a message.
Right.
Don't do this. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to take it hook, line, and sinker. Because sometimes I've had in the past where I said, man, I wish I knew, man. And so now I was just like, oh, I can just ask this question and it'll help me for that answer. I don't have to, like I had an idea, but I didn't have nobody to bounce that idea off of. But now I come back, I could just say, oh, I got an idea about this, and it'll spit back to me what I need. So
how would you... Well, with regard to church members, maybe who aren't serving in ministry, like how would you counsel them about the use of AI in their regular lives?
Yeah, I would say be
good
careful.
and bad.
I'd say be careful.
Right.
So because it's based on you. So, and as we said earlier, it's trying to please you. It's trying to give you what you're asking for. So it might lie to you.
That's right.
So so for me, I'm checking different places. And so for me, if you're going to start off, I would just, let's say from a standpoint of a pastor or anybody, I would start with something I really know about.
That's good. That's good advice.
And then ask questions based on stuff I know.
Really good counsel.
And then see what it does. See, is it going to give you the right answers about things, and then move from there. So then question different things as you're going along. So like, for instance, it might give you the right passage, but the way it came up with how it's using it, the interpretation, it might not be what it really needs to be. So you say, hold up, I see you said this, but what about this?
Right.
And then it'll say, oh, he's paying attention. So I need to make sure I'm on point when I'm giving them things. So, so it'll learn from it.
It almost has a lazy streak.
Oh,
it wants to cut corners.
Okay, so I did this. I went through and I was asking it about one specific thing in ministry.
Okay.
And it was, and I kept asking it until it gave me exactly what I wanted.
Right.
And so it was very detailed. It was laid out. Then I said, okay, now I want you to do this for these other 10. It got so lazy.
Yeah.
It just gave me like some little snippets and stuff. I was like,
no,
I wanted that detail.
Do all the work that we did.
I'm like, you didn't got lazy on me. This is not right. And so, it will. It'll get lazy.
That's hilarious.
Well, anything else that our folks should know? I think we could.
No, I can't think of anything other than that. Just, let God be your guide. I think that's, pray and let him guide you as you're using it, because it's just like any tool. You can pick up any book and it could be a bad book.
That's true.
And it give you bad information. And so always try to ask for sources. I know on my iPad, it might not necessarily give them to me, but I know when I do it on my computer, it'll say, oh, I got this from this place. I got this, and it'll list it on the side and let you know exactly. That's awesome. I'm always asking for where are the sources, and if it can't give me any, and they say, well, I didn't really get this from just one place. Like if it put something together for you, well then you just gotta use that with a grain of salt. You just need to pay attention to what you're looking at.
So here's what I did just a second ago. I went to chat, all right, and I said, give me a closing for Pastor in the Middle with myself, Matt Crawford, and it's an interview with Brian Carmichael. So I'm gonna go through. It gave me 5 choices. All right.
Okay.
So you at home, you take your pick of these 5 different closings. Here we go. Here's the first one: warm and appreciative. Thank you for joining us on Pastor in the Middle. Brian, we're grateful for your time and wisdom today. From Fred and Matt, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid.
Here's conversational and friendly, okay? Well, that wraps up our conversation with Brian Carmichael. Brian, thanks for hanging out with us. And all of you listening, this is Fred and Matt on Pastor in the Middle. We'll catch you next time. That sounds kind of like what we normally do, right?
It's good.
Pastoral and reflective.
Ooh.
You've been listening to Pastor in the Middle with Fred Shackelford and Matt Crawford. Brian, thank you for sharing your heart and experience with us. And to our listeners, may the Lord meet you in the middle of whatever you're facing this week.
Until next time. Man, y'all might have to change.
Number 4, lighthearted and relaxed. Well, that was a fun and encouraging conversation with Brian Carmichael.
That was fun.
Brian, thank you for joining us in the chaos. And for the rest of you, this is Fred and Matt with Pastor in the Middle. We'll see you next time.
Chaos.
I guess. Number 5. It's been listening. Number 5. Short and clean. Big thanks to Brian Carmichael for joining us today. For Fred and Matt, this has been Pastor in the Middle. See you next time. Hey, and seriously, we love you, brother. Thank you for your time. And we will see you next time.
All right.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Pastor in the Middle. For more episodes, search for Pastor in the Middle wherever you get your podcasts, or visit us on Twitter @PastorInTheMid. And if you like the show, subscribe, rate, or review.